guys, so what I'm going to show you right now is some neural stretches and nerve mobilizations and flossings. These exercises I usually give when people suffer from herniated discs or thoracic outlet syndromes around the neck, which thoracic outlet syndrome is some kind of a compression on the neural structures in the peripheral nervous system coming from four structures, either between the vertebrae, through the scalene muscles, underneath the clavicle, the collarbone, and through the pectoralis minor muscle, which is underneath my major pecs. So we got three major nerves passing through there. There are more nerves, but I'm going to show you mobility exercises and flossing and stretching for those three nerves because they're just much easier to understand. So the first one is the median nerve. Median nerve is passing from my neck, down the hatch, through my arm, all the way towards the front of my fingers. So imagine a line, like visualize a line passing through this. Now, how do I stretch that line? Bringing my arm in that direction and bringing my hands to this direction. Usually when people have an irritated median nerve, it's very difficult for them, or it's a little more irritated for them to keep their arms to the side of their body, or even when they walk, but it's easier for them to put their hand behind their neck. So first of all, how do I test and check, is there a difference between my right side and my left side? So let's test this. Arms to the side of the body, rotated outwards, lifting up through the sides. Where do I feel more tension? Now, okay, let's say I feel something a little bit more on my left arm. So here I feel a little bit more tingling, a little more pins and needles, or like what I tell my patients sometimes feels like a distortion sound or a clean sound, like a buzzy kind of like feeling, or like compared to a normal stretch. So I'm lifting up my arms, and okay, this is where I feel the buzzing. This is where I stop. You don't want to over irritate it or stimulate it. So here's where I start. Now, if I want to stretch it, I bring the head to the other direction while bringing my hand to this direction. So here is how I pull it. So 5 of these stretches, back to the midline, less stretch. Why? Because this point is brought closer to the edge of the nerve where my fingers are. So this is a stretch, this is less of a stretch. So 5 here, 4, 5, 5 here, and now let's move the nerve in the opposite direction. Bring my head here, but closing my fist. So here the nerve is stretched towards my neck, but it's released from my hand. So I have a little bit more range of motion, and here is where I start to feel it. And a little bit higher, not so much in my fingers, but more in my elbow, my forearm, my biceps. So here we go. So 5 of these. So just to be clear, 5 from my shoulder blade here, 5 with the neck to the other direction, and 5 with a closed fist. Now, next thing you want to do, let's move it and mobilize it from another joint. So instead of my shoulder blade, let's move my shoulder, my arm. So I start, here is where the buzzing feels. So 1 in neutral position, 1 a little bit more stretched, and 1 relaxed, loosened, and feels a little bit more higher. This was my shoulder joint. Let's move on to the elbow. So again, where's the stretch? Here it is. Okay, let's just now move my elbow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you'll see as you're doing this, you might feel less tension, so you can lift your arm a little bit higher and then close your fist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this was the median nerve. Again, by the way, you can also do this with your opposite arm, add a little bit more interest to it. Next one, let's work on the radial nerve. The radial nerve passing from my neck around my arm to the back part of my wrist and my forearm. So the opposite movement of what we did just now is fist clenched forward, fist clenched in. So I'm lifting up. Here's a little bit more stretch. Now, the easiest way to mobilize this nerve, I can do this, but sometimes my elbow bent, it's a little bit tricky to understand how to do this. So just use a door. Now what I do with the door, see, it's really easy. Try to bring the door really bring it from the bottom, like underneath the door handle. And now bring the door towards you and back. Bring it towards you and back. Easier? Go squat a little bit down, adds a little bit more stretch. You see, it's just like what we did with the opposite exercise, with the median nerve exercise. It's the same thing. I can go lower, I can stretch a little bit more in the opposite direction, or I can release the door handle. Yeah, it needs to be all a little bit. Here we go. So this is the same thing for the radial nerve. So mid stretch, bigger stretch, and whoop, release. You can go down and do a little bit of squats on the way. Okay, 5 in each position. Next, the ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerve is passing from the front part of my neck to the side of my pinky and the 4th digit. So how do I test this? There's a few ways to do this. The easiest one I found was just this. Like a praying position. Bring my arm from side to side. Let's say my right arm right now is a little bit tingling, and you'll start feeling a little bit more pins and needles, tingling, referred pain, something more on my right side. So like the pinky and the 4th digit. Let's say it starts here. Now the way to mobilize this, it's quite easy. Let's say it starts here. Here's a stretch. 5 of these. This is a bit more stretchy. 5 of these. Now how do I release the nerve from the lower part? Clenching my fists. Here you go. Now I'm releasing the nerve from the bottom part. I'm stretching it from the higher part. And here is where I feel the stretch, and I feel it more in my elbow and less in my hand. So again, 5 mid stretch, 5 bigger stretch, and 5 a bit further away. Now when you're done with this, again, try to compare whether you did the radial nerve or the median or the ulnar. Try to see if there's a difference before and after. Let's say, do I feel less tingling here? Do I have more range here? Does it feel a little bit more similar, more symmetrical between the arms? Now this you should be doing, let's say, twice, 3 times a day, just a few minutes. Remember, don't overstimulate it, don't over-irritate it. You're not stretching a muscle. It should be done to the extent of, oh, there it is. And oh, there it is becomes a little bit further away. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Drop a line in the comments. Let me know what you think.